conversation. And so that leads me to look forward to the conversation we're going to have with our special guest today. And so I'm going to introduce the two lovely ladies in the room, and then we will get to the brother at the end. So ladies first. The first person that I'm going to introduce is Miss Amanda Spann, and Amanda Spann is she is America's leading app educator. She's the founder of the App Accelerator, a product development program that helps non-technical founders design, launch, and scale revenue-ready tech solutions. I like that word revenue. And partner, she's a partner at Grail, an AI-powered app builder, often called the MVP of MVPs for enabling faster, more affordable app and software creation. She's coached more than 30,000 entrepreneurs, and also she's been shouted out by a lot of amazing institutions like IBM, Wells Fargo, TechStars, etc. She co-founded Tip Hub, the United States' first immigrant-focused accelerator. Wow, interesting. She served as the CMO of Blurtology, a trailblazing tech social enterprise, and also she's even been celebrated by billionaire Robert F. Smith as a bridge to opportunity, or her work has been, and she's been featured in Forbes, Wired, Essence, TechCrunch, Fast Company, NPR, Black Enterprise, etc. So I hope you will give a big black welcome to Miss Amanda Spann. How you doing, Amanda?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
All right, and Amanda, she let me know that in a very nice way that I'm probably neurospicy, so I like that. I'm going to own that, right? So that helps me explain why I'm so focused because I met her through my brother Lawrence. You guys know my brother. He ran the Black Family Conference this weekend, and he just has so many more friends than I do, and he always has great friends. And he introduced me to Lamar Tyler 12, 13 years ago, and I remember you know Lamar. Everybody know Lamar by chance or? Yeah, Lamar, he's such a great guy. And I remember Lawrence said, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy." And I said, I got work I got to do because I was into like professor mode, like always working. And he said, "No, I think you really need to meet this guy." And that was enough for me to get up and go meet him. And it changed my whole life. I just love Lamar. He's one of my best friends now. And literally since that time, every single person when Lawrence says you need to meet this person, I always listen. So listen to your relatives that are a little bit smarter than you are. We all should have somebody around us who knows things we don't know. The second lovely lady we get to introduce today is Miss Micah Smith. Micah is she goes by the name Micah the Creator, and she's a digital architect, AI artist, and music producer. She's helped creators turn their ideas into income through artificial intelligence. She's formerly the customer experience manager and chief marketing officer at the Black Business School. So Micah's family. Micah's been riding with us for about since I think probably what 2018, 2019. Micah, is that right? Right.
Yeah,
So
something around
so
there.
she's yeah, so she's deeply entrenched in B1 Black First culture. She cares about all of you, and she's probably spoken to a lot of you at the different conventions we've had. And everybody in here is invited to the All Black National Convention. I think you guys would like it. And she's led initiatives like the Black Wealth Boot Camp, the ABC. She's been a featured guest on Fly Nubian Queen. She's a co-founder of Quillify AI and creator of CreatorSoft AI. She now leads AI education through her payday and the AI Income Vault, and also the AI Empire Society, which I've mentioned to you all before, AIEmpireSociety.com. Her artistry has captured the attention of leading AI brands such as Suno AI and OpenArt, showcasing her production talent and innovation at the intersection of music and technology. She had a hit single called Money Baby and Did You Know I Was That Girl and Tech Check. And these are actually streaming on different platforms, actually. And she's currently a featured collaborator at Black LA Tech Week. And actually, your song is on the radio, right? Like you made an AI song that they're playing on the radio,
Yes.
which is awesome, right? So congratulations on that. So everybody, give a big black round of applause and welcome to Miss Micah Smith, aka Micah the Creator. All right. So last but not certainly not least is Mr. Harold Hughes. Harold is a serial entrepreneur, CEO, and founder of NFNTE Capital, an entrepreneurial support organization that helps startup founders leverage social capital institutions, including various institutions, including Benedict College, the University of Texas, and Yale. They've adopted his entrepreneurial curriculum to further the entrepreneurial mindset in their communities. As a first generation American prioritizing education, he holds dual bachelor's degrees in economics and political science and an MBA from Clemson University, whose football team has unfortunately fallen apart in the last year or two. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, sir, but
We,
you
we won a
guys,
soccer national championship last year, so we're good.
okay, well, that's good. That's good. Sure. I ain't never won a soccer national championship. All right, so as a community leader, He authored and published a kid's book about blockchain to make Web3 technology accessible to all ages. Harold has continued his efforts in becoming a lifelong learner by learning about artificial intelligence and creating curriculum and workshops to help educate curious learners and business professionals across the country. He's a community builder and co-founder of Catalyst Labs. He runs a 12-week accelerator program for emerging entrepreneurs. His expertise spans from go-to-market strategy and business development to supporting founders from ideation to scale. And he's an active angel investor, primarily investing in companies led by diverse founders. Most notably, he invested in Partake Foods, the Jay-Z-backed CPG company, making allergy-friendly snacks. My daughter has allergies. We talked about her allergies for a long time this morning, so allergies are big. All right, and also companies like Liquid Death. That's a crazy name for a drink, by the way. I never, isn't Liquid Death like water? It's just water. Why? Tell me seriously, everybody in here, would you ever name a product Liquid Death? I don't get that. I don't. Okay, I'm gonna finish this brother's bio. I'm spazzing out over that. I got a bone to pick about Liquid Death. But anyway, he's also worked with Republic, Winx Health, Major League Baseball, and Broadway shows like Stereophonic, Hell's Kitchen, and The Wiz. All right, he's on down the road. The Wiz is the best, right? All right, so yeah, so don't get me started on that. All right, so let's jump right in. All right, so what I want to do is start with you, Amanda.
Mhm.
So you are big in AI. You've done amazing stuff with amazing people, and your work is super impressive. Uh, when you look at AI and you see this explosion happening, all these crazy things going on, what would you say is the biggest like sort of misperception that people have about what's happening in AI, or maybe mistakes or things they're overlooking about sort of what's happening right now?
I think this is an incredible opportunity that I think I equate most in line with like kind of the dot-com era, right? I feel like we as Black people overwhelmingly kind of miss that opportunity, and I think we are now in a place where we have AI as a tool to be a great equalizer. I think it's being perpetuated as this great threat that's going to come and take all of our jobs and take over our lives, but it really is a tool to increase and enhance our quality of life. And I think we need to have this overwhelming perception shift where we can start looking at AI as a tool that we can use to build startups, to increase economic impact, to make our jobs a little easier. I mean, when I was talking last week at, the Family Summit, we talked about how 70% of Black women run solo businesses, right? Or solo founders. What would it look like if we were to leveraging AI to work, on our business as opposed to in it? If we were leveraging AI to create agents that could be that CMO, to be that CFO, to run different elements of our business so that we can grow and scale, so that we can spend more time with our families, and increase our revenue, right? We want to make more, we all want to make more money. I feel like that's the bottom line. And the big part of the reason why I'm in apps is because they're a business, right? I don't want to just make expensive hobbies.
Mm, interesting. Okay, so you're saying that AI is seen by a lot of people to be a threat when really, it could be a threat to some, but it's really an opportunity for most if it's viewed in the right way. Micah, it seems to me that based on what Amanda's saying, that preparation is essential to be able to flip that threat into an opportunity, right? You think about AI, like, would we agree? Everybody give me a yes in the chat if you agree with me that AI is powerful. Type yes in the chat if you agree that AI is powerful. Um, okay. So given that most of us agree, I see Jen and Candace and Lady Emma and Lysandra, we all agree on this. So you think about other powerful things. Fire is very powerful. Well, can fire be a threat? Yes. Is fire also an asset, an opportunity? Yeah, it can keep you warm and cook your food and all that, right? So what's the defining variable, right? It's the ability to control the fire, right? Use it to your advantage. So Micah, what would you say that preparation, the role of that plays in terms of our community, in terms of seeing AI as a threat or as an asset?
I get asked this question a lot from people, and there is a whole lot of fear, out there. And so for right now, my job has just kind of been like, get rid of the fear, go ahead and take the risk. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. and things that you probably thought that you couldn't do before, couldn't accomplish before. Like, Amanda said, so many of us are solopreneurs, and AI could really just be your opportunity to really get the help that you need for your business. If we look at one of the most expensive things that you'll spend in business is going to be your marketing costs, right? You start using AI and using it the right way, you'll probably save like somewhere between ten to $30,000, just in contractor or employee cost from using it. Um, so again, like I would just say, get over your fear and take the risk.
Well, it seems to me, Harold, that with AI emerging, it's not like it's our little secret, our little secret sauce that allows us to have this strategic advantage over the competitors. Everybody has it, everybody's using it.
Mhm.
Hundreds of millions. I think ChatGPT has what, 100 million, 800 million people that are signed on the free or the paid account or something. So the cat's out the bag. Um, what does that mean though in terms of what it means to be an entrepreneur? I've seen people use AI as if they didn't know that everybody else could tell they were using AI. Like I have a term, like we came up, Amanda helped me come up with the term neurospicy. I call it, I have a new term called AI obnoxious, AIO, which means like you send me something and you did it with AI, but you act like it would require like all this work. I
Mhm.
kid you not. I had somebody that sent me like this report, and they said I spent 3 weeks doing this. I said, "No, you didn't. You put that in ChatGPT. I know what ChatGPT writing looks like. So what? So what? That's what's confusing to me, Harold, is that it's like, yeah, on one hand, it gives you all these advantages, but now just it's like a whole different world where everybody's got access to these same advantages. What is it about, I guess, being human and creative that can allow us to really turn a perceived advantage into a real advantage as opposed to something that might actually lead us to a world where things are cheaper and more commodified because everybody can do certain things now? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I recognize that because it feels accessible to those of us who know about it, we think that, oh, everyone has access to AI. But man, these platforms are changing fast. Over the summer, I was in San Antonio and we led a workshop for rising eighth graders on how to use artificial intelligence. So we started with what is AI? What can you do with it? What are some of the tools? And then from there, how do you use it responsibly? So we talked about ethics. And in preparation for that course, we're like, okay, cool. We'll get everybody laptops. We got a sponsor for the laptops. And then the students got the laptops, and we were trying to do some of the prompts, and you couldn't do them on the free versions anymore. So that meant 2 months before, when we were able to say, hey, make a video for free. Now, when we were doing the camp, the platforms have changed it to where that's now restricted. To do a video, you have to pay, right? And so what we're seeing is that yes, AI is accessible in general, but they are gatekeeping and putting payment gates in front of certain tiers of it. And so what we're going to get into from a challenge of as a business owner standpoint is all AI is not created equal. And you may think that you're competing with someone at the same rate, but they're paying for the premium version. They're using a couple of different models. And so as business owners, I think the opportunity we have as well as aspiring business owners is to make sure that we're investing in AI in the same way that we would our own professional development or as a
Hmm.
intern or a low skill employee that we're saying, hey, this is a task that needs to be completed. And so I look at my AI subscriptions as like, this is a team member who's going to complement the work we do. And the last thing I'll say on that is that AI is not the last thing that gets delivered to you, meaning I only use it for inputs. Morgan from Blavity talks about how she doesn't start any emails from scratch anymore. She always starts with AI writing some of it, and then she polishes and touches it up. So, like you said, you can tell when some of these emails or projects are written already from AI. No, you need to have your own personal spin, your own flavor, your own voice. And so that stuff is really easy to pick up on. But in a couple of months, it might not be as easy.
Hmm.
May I add, Dr. Boyce, is that I think it's really important to emphasize, and I feel like this is a given, but it must be said, is that you still have to know what you're talking about, right? And it shows, like to your point of, when you know someone has written this with AI and they really don't, they haven't mastered the subject, they don't have a frame of reference, they don't have a perspective on it. I think what's great about where we're at AI is right now, a lot of us are subject matter experts in our respective fields. We've spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years perfecting our craft, right? but we've been working in our business as opposed to on it, right? And it makes it very, very difficult for us to scale, right? But because we have this unique perspective, we can leverage AI as a tool. We just have to be intentional about the trainings and keeping up with AI. And it can be a difficult thing to do with all the demands of life, right? But I think it's really important for us to pick a few platforms, hone in on them, and then lean on educators who can keep us abreast on what's new now and next in the space so that we can gradually learn it and make it a form of professional development, as Harold mentioned.
Mm. I like what you're saying, Amanda. And by the way, everybody who comes in, I'm speaking to Amanda Spann, Harold Hughes, and Micah Smith, three AI experts that are going to be at our Black AI conference. And what I'll do is I'll put the link in there if any of you want to join us this weekend. It's going to be a lot of networking and connection and breakdowns of just all different aspects of AI. And so I'll go to you, Micah. So Micah, as you and I were talking about something that you and I worked on, the AI Empire Society together. One of the things that crossed my mind as I was listening to Harold and Amanda speak is so you got this world, right, where suddenly all these tools are out there. Like I feel like almost feel like Sam Altman kind of disrupted the ecosystem a lot because I think he handled ChatGPT differently from the way a lot of other people would have handled it. I think the fact that he just threw it out there and was like, okay, here's AI, everybody, y'all can use it now. And the whole world is like, what the hell? What is this? Right? If you remember the ChatGPT moment, um, what it did was it sort of changed everything in the sense that again everybody's got this advantage, so the whole world has just accelerated big time. And it sounds to me, based on what Amanda and Harold are saying, that one of the variants that's still going to allow, like the world always seems to find some way to create inequality, right? Like no matter what world you live in, there's always you say, oh, we're going to have an equal world. No, we're not, because human beings are not equal. So it sounds to me like one aspect of inequality might be, as Harold mentioned, the fact that they got the paywalls and it costs money to kind of have access to the best AI. And then what I'm hearing also from Amanda is that there's still room for the human in the loop element of it, where still you can have all these tools, but there's a difference between an expert using AI versus a regular person, or a creative person using AI versus a regular person. Can you kind of speak to some of that from your perspective, based on what I just sort of laid out?
Yeah, sure thing. Um, so here's the thing. I guess I honestly like I don't recommend the free versions of these platforms, right? I've actually been paying for ChatGPT since it first came out, and the price has stayed roughly about $20 a month. Best $20 a month I have probably ever spent in my life, right? I happily give them my money like every every month. And there's always an ROI for it. So for the person who's just generally starting to use it, I'd highly recommend that they get really, really clear on what they want to use it for and to start experimenting, to think about what it is that they want to accomplish and to begin researching as to how AI can help them, start to accomplish that. Because the truth of the matter is that me personally, I use AI mostly for marketing, right? And its output and its performance is going to drastically depend on my input. So I don't just, put things in the AI and I was like, okay, or tell it what to do. I'm like, okay, I want you to spit this out. I've spent a lot of years, I guess you could say, really feeding and educating my AI on my knowledge, other people's expertise as well. That's, involved in my industry in order to get it to do what I needed to do. Um, and I have for myself, I have certain formulas for the outputs that I want. And each individual person is going to have to work with AI to develop their own formulas, right? So, I know AI outputs tend to have markers. And like you said, like I'm reading something, I could tell it's AI. Yeah, you probably can. I get a lot done with AI, but it's never as simple as like, okay, we've put this in, now AI's done it. No, there's a lot of review. There's definitely a lot of review just to make sure that everything is right for you. A lot of, you know, um, editing and things like that, and then still just kind of following some of the industry standard tips to attempt to humanize AI more and take out some of the markers that make it look AI generated. And then at the same time, Dr. Boyce, I'm kind of finding out too that even when it comes to content creation, some people might complain like, oh, like this seems AI generated. Other people don't care. They're like, I just want to be entertained. I just want the knowledge. I just want the info. Thank you for getting it out there. And, now we can get things out faster than ever thanks to AI, and everyone should be taking advantage of this.
That's really interesting. You say that, Micah. I want to ask you about this. I want to follow up on something.
Sure.
You kind of were a living example of this when I remember when you put out that music video. If you follow Micah, everybody should go follow Micah, the creator. I think it's spelled with a K, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you put out this music video and it was hilarious. It was almost like this alternative universe of you because you were in the video, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or one
Mhm.
the one I saw, and so you made this song and I agree with you. It seems to me that like once, like if you make something like music, once the music's made, there are some people who say no, that's AI. I don't want that song because it's AI. But a lot of people are just like, oh, that's a good song and they don't care. What was that experience like for you? I was really stunned when you told me that they were playing that song on the radio. What's that experience been like, and what's that really done for you in terms of examining possibilities of AI?
I'll talk about this more during the conference too. But to be honest with you, it's actually been really amazing. So I want to say like the first playlist or album I did or whatnot was mostly, I guess you could say, written by AI. And it was really just a project that I wasn't really taking serious or anything like that. So AI was developing off of my ideas, just like my general ideas, experiences, and then what I wanted the output of that song to be, right? However, the last three singles that got released after I realized I was kind of getting noticed by a couple other platforms, right? That was written by me, right? And then
Hmm.
taken and run through AI. And so I think that's why it ended up being a hit because it wasn't just like fully generated by AI and just put some output in there. I was like, no, this is the verse I want. This is the chorus I want. This is how I want this melody, to sound like. And it just ended up coming out way better than what I could have ever imagined. And so what I've learned is that I've developed a formula for creating like really addictive songs. I have so many messages. I have so many messages from people who are like, I cannot stop listening to this. I've got this on repeat nonstop. This is crack. Can you please make this thing 20 minutes long? I mean, it's been amazing. And so it's kind of funny because I feel like corporate Micah, right, and music Micah, they really are like it's just like it is an alternate universe. It's kind of like an alter ego thing. Because even you've asked me like,
Funny.
who is this? And what is this? Right. So
Wow.
it's been
Sasha
fun.
Fierce. That's what that is. Sasha Fierce, the Nino Brown of music. Okay, all
Right.
right. I see where you're going with this. All right, you keep putting out that dope. I love it. So Harold, and by the way, everybody, I'm gonna put the link to the conference in the chat if you guys want to go ahead and sign up and join. And one thing I should mention to you about the Black AI conference is that it's a little different from the Black Family Conference. When Lawrence did the Black Family Conference, I think there was 3,600 of you that came in. This is not designed in that same way. We want something that's more intimate experience so you can really connect with each other and connect with speakers, things like that. So we're capping this at 300 people. So and we're way over halfway there. So just you may want to lock in your spot now. I'll put the link in the chat if you guys want to join us this weekend. We start Friday. So Harold, let me so speaking of what Mike is talking about, and I know you work with entrepreneurs and things like that. On one hand, it seems like there's still just so much room for human beings to just have so much more expansive capability now than they've had before, right? If you want to be a computer programmer, you can do that. AI can help. If you want to be a great music producer like Micah, you got Timberland and Aaliyah in the studio. You just tell them what beat, what track to lay down, and they'll do it, right? When you deal with entrepreneurs, and I imagine you also meet with a lot of entrepreneurs, people that are maybe still, in the corporate space. We always call it the corporate plantation, right? So they're stuck in the corporate plantation, but and some of them are scared to death, like, oh my God, AI is going to replace me. How do you deal with that fear that people have that AI is a competitor? And as opposed to saying, like, look, you're going to have to adjust to this, especially someone, let's say they're over 50 or over 60, and they don't necessarily adjust as quickly as they might have in their 20s.
Well, I think that that's one of the things that we're talking a little bit about in the chat too. So I'm trying to be engaged there as well because the way I look at it is really straightforward. Is that as someone said earlier, like the American way is thinking about dollars, right? And so while there's a lot of folks who have positions of power right now, who are preservationists, and you can think about real estate at the state level and how some of the processes are done. A lot of that could be done on blockchain, but it's not because people want to keep their jobs, right? So there's a lot of things that inherently people want to stay employed. So in the effort of staying employed, I'm simply encouraging you, it's not AI that's going to just take your job because likely they're training on your experience, they're training on your processes, but you're going to lose to the person who has figured out how to use AI better than you, faster than you. They're able to deliver higher quality product. They're able to deliver faster. They're able to have a unique and different perspective. And so, as we talk about the uniqueness of learning at whatever age, if you are only being taught what is being handed to you, you've lost, right? Let's restate that. If you're only learning from the things that people are handing you, you have lost. And so there's a level of aggressiveness, there's a level of offense you have to go on to seek out knowledge in different places. And so for everyone who's here today, it's like, yeah, y'all chose to come here, right? You found this and you're going to continue to find it. And the thing I like to say is that everyone, it's 300 something people in here right now, there are a lot of people who couldn't be in this room right now. Maybe they had a meeting, maybe they didn't know about it, maybe they couldn't get the link on. Regardless, it's our job to share that knowledge with them. And so if we're sitting here saying like, "Hey, this isn't a threat. We need to be aware of it so we can understand how to use it." That's the only thing that gets fear away. Like fear is conquered by knowledge. Fear is conquered by understanding. Fear is conquered by repetition and exposure. And so all we're saying is that it's okay to be afraid of it, but that shouldn't inhibit you from taking the first step to try to understand it.
Wow, I really like that a lot. And by the way, everybody, I just put that link in the chat for the conference. I forgot to put it in there, but there it is. There's the link, Deanna. It's right there for you. Amanda, so you got that awesome compliment from Robert Smith where he talked about some of the work you're doing, and he referred to it as a bridge to opportunity. I think that's really powerful, and it's an amazing compliment, from an amazing guy. I never met Robert, but I respect him. In terms of that word opportunity, and I'm thinking about things like black wealth and stuff like that. What comes to mind for you immediately when you see what AI can do in terms of either closing the racial wealth gap or actually allowing us to actually take the lead when it comes to wealth creation in our community? I believe we can do that. What are your thoughts on that in terms of AI's role in that process?
So, well, first up for context. So the compliment that Robert gave me, amazing, right? It was in regards to my program, the App Accelerator. And so the App Accelerator is a step-by-step program where I teach non-technical founders how to build apps. No matter if you have a coding background or not, we leverage AI to do it as well as traditional methods. The program, we partner with HBCUs around the country. We have a self-paced program that you can just enroll in online, but we also partner with HBCUs, and we're in the process of expanding the program to every HBCU in the country. So it's a really exciting time for us. But what we do is we kind of bridge that gap because right now, 70% of people, when they try to transition into their business into an app, they fail, right? And the average person, non-technical founder, spends around $50,000 in inefficiencies in trying to build an app. They waste about 2 years of time, and they spend around $50,000 just trying to figure it out. And so my goal in creating the App Accelerator was helping people bridge that gap to ensure that they spend less time and spend less money. I kept seeing people lose their life savings trying to build products, and I just didn't want to see that. We don't have that money to lose, right? And so that is the work that we do. And I think it's, in seeing my students and working with them, how it's transformed their livelihoods. They are now able to employ people. I'll give you an example. of a company I work with in the Virgin Islands, two brothers. They're Virgin Islands. I don't know if you guys have been to the U.S. Virgin Islands recently, but in many ways, they're still living like it's the early 90s, right? They don't have rideshare. They don't have food service delivery. You are
Wow.
catching the bus everywhere, or you're waiting, an hour for a taxi, right? And so this presents an incredible opportunity to innovate, right? And these brothers didn't have a background in tech. They decided they wanted to create a food delivery service. And it's just amazing what they've done in just a matter of years as a result of just them buckling down, focusing on training themselves on product development and training themselves on AI, right? They built this product, right? And now when you come to the island of St. Croix and they're expanding into St. Thomas right now, you see their logo in every restaurant's window, right? So they have not only increased revenue streams for these restaurants, they built a startup and been able to transition into self-employment for themselves, right? But now in a territory where I think the average income is around $22,000 to $24,000 a year, they have now employed a new fleet of people with gig work and enabled them and empowered them to supplement their income with additional revenue, right? And they've transformed the landscape of their communities. And so what I say is that if, we don't necessarily have to chase unicorns here. We don't need to necessarily create the next Google or the next Facebook. But if we can create small localized businesses and create, let's say, 10,000 more of those around Black communities around the country, what would that look like for us, right? How would that improve our quality of life as entrepreneurs, right? And now that we're scaling our business, making more money, how would that improve the community if we're employing people in our community, right? As opposed to depending on the corporate plantation, right? What would that look like as far as just improving, just the livelihoods and how people impact and navigate their communities. Like for how many years have these islands not been able to get food from a restaurant?
Mm,
Right? It's such a
mm.
simple thing that we don't think about here stateside, right? But in the Caribbean, this is a huge issue, right? People aren't able to just order food and get it delivered to their homes. And so solving for simple problems like this and leveraging tech and AI to do that a lot faster now, like reducing those costs by 80% by just figuring out how to tinker with these platforms long enough to monetize them, maximize them, and build the products that you want, you can change your life and change the dynamic of your community. And I want to see more stories like that in our communities.
I love that, and I think that is that's really powerful stuff. Um, because to me, Micah, it does seem to me that we're kind of in this interesting new world that is gonna be like a weird place, and I think about where you are is in the and you and I we've known each other for years, but I didn't know you were so interested in the creative side of music. And when you told me that you kind of had your formula for making music addictive, it reminded me of the rapper 50 Cent. He said that he did that 25 years ago, where he studied something that they did at the University of Pennsylvania that showed exactly how to make a song like a hit. So that's why his songs have a certain like cadence and sound to them because it was science, right? And so yeah, so your people here, you find me in the club, bottle full of but right, people just automatically have a reaction. Or like when Juvenile song comes out, back that ass up, like people instantly hear it and they respond. Like there's science behind all this, right? Which is beautiful. That's what makes music really interesting. But I am curious about some of my artist friends, who live in LA, and I know you're participating in Black LA Tech Week, coming up, and some of them aren't really happy at all with AI. Uh, my daughter, who's an artist, herself, dancer, singer, actress, all those things. She just says, I don't want to use AI. And I had to have a long conversation about like, no, 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 like don't make yourself an old lady at the age of 15. You know, what do you think? What does AI mean in terms of just art and creativity in general, intellectual property, just all these things? I mean, they've got court battles going on, and it seems like there's just going to be an endless number of these. I think Sora comes out, they start using Disney characters and all these little videos, and Disney's pissed because that's billions of dollars worth of intellectual property. How's that going to sort itself out? I just It's going to be crazy, right?
It is. Since I'm in LA, California is being very aggressive about AI laws right now, right? And trying to, I guess, take the lead on that as far as like protecting people's images, their intellectual property, and I also get asked that question a lot too. I feel like regular, creatives who don't really use AI, I understand why they would be upset. There's just like, okay, there's too much access, there's too much exposure, this is becoming too easy. And so, whether you use AI or not, for right now, we are all individually responsible for taking the necessary steps that we need to take in order to protect our works, um, also our images and our likeness. So yeah, it's going to be a little crazy. Companies like, for example, BMI have been, involved in the music industry for years. Um, they are still trying to figure out themselves, like what stance they want to take on protecting music that is even partially generated with AI. You cannot legally copyright AI generated music at all. It's possible that you can copyright the lyrics, but I think everybody is still trying to figure out because things are changing every 24 to 48 hours, and so we have to kind of find out where things are going to where they're going to land. We still don't know fully, um, apparently, like a lot of AI doesn't really come out with anything on its own. It was fed information, right? So it's fed sounds, it's fed images, it's fed the intellectual property of others. When Sora got released, the idea of Sora was like, yeah, we're just gonna let everyone take the reins the way that they want to take it, and we're not going to stop anything until people actually come and legally address us about it, right? So that's kind of what's happened as well. And Dr. Boyce, like when you are the monster in business, the big guy in business, you can afford to take ridiculous risk like what OpenAI has taken in the space, right? You can afford it. Like we'll pay for it later.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah,
have to follow anything. We don't have to follow rules, right? We could just see
yeah.
if the rules will work for us. And that's just kind of what's happened. So
Well, it seems to me that I guess they, in Silicon Valley, I remember hearing slogans like "move fast and break things," and it seems like that's what
yes.
they're applying here. But it's different to me, Harold, when you're talking about AI versus, just like releasing some product. I mean, this is you move fast and break things, you could break a lot with AI. And then also I think about that other saying, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And that seems to be what they're doing. I speculate Sam Altman is working to become the next hyperscaler. I think that's what he wants to be, a Google or a Meta or whatever, right? So, that's what they're doing. Um, so so Harold, and by the way, everybody, I put the code in there. If you put 30 off as one word, the next 100 people that sign up, you can actually get 30% off your pass for the conference. So use that code 30 off, all one word, blackaiconference.com. I put all that in the chat, so feel free to grab that. All right, so Harold, let me ask you about this then. I noticed in your bio you talked about something to the extent of leveraging human capital, which spoke to, I like the idea that we're using the word human in this conversation about AI because human beings are sitting around like, okay, what's my job? In a way, maybe it's almost like if I'm a mom and I feed the baby and someone says, "Oh, we got somebody else that can feed the baby," and I, cradle the baby and nurture the baby, and someone's like, "Oh, don't worry, the baby likes being nurtured over here more than whatever, right?" Like, let's say your whole job is just replaced, and then you sort of are like, "Well, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's my role?" And I wonder about this world where it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. AI is going to do your job now. A bunch of you are going to get universal basic income. A small percent of you will become billionaires, and then everybody else is going to sit around and I don't know, smoke fentanyl all day or something like no, like what does that look like, right? I hope that that's not the world we're heading toward. I'd like to be more optimistic and believe, Harold, that we're moving toward a world where maybe AI is helping us really, really think deeply about just the value of the human connection. Like I believe that human beings really matter. And I think that it seems to me that what AI is kind of doing is just saying, okay, all these repetitive things you were doing as a human, that was distracting from your humanity. Now let's get that off the table so you can really see the value of what you represent, right? So can you tell me more in
Absolutely.
terms of how you see AI shaping how we interact human to human, perhaps as entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be, using technology as a facilitator for our humanity as opposed to a way to replace it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so for those of you who are familiar with the startup world or even watch Shark Tank, you've heard of the phrase venture capitalist, a person who invests in startups with other people's money. I consider myself a social capitalist. That's my largest currency has been relationships. Every door that's been opened for me that money couldn't has really helped me advance in my business and become as successful as I've been able to be. And with that, I take the responsibility of saying, well, let's connect more people. Let's find more ways to share. And so I do think we're moving into an era where so many of us have been defined by what we do and what we output, when instead we should be thinking more about how are we defining our humanity, and that's likely due to our experiences. My number one thing is experiences. I tell people all the time, like I don't buy a lot of stuff, but I love experiences. This weekend, I'm speaking at a conference about AI in the Black community, and y'all are going to be there, right? Everybody's going to be there. You drop a yes if you're going to be there. Okay, cool. But part of this is I want to make sure that I'm pouring into my community so they see the opportunity to allow themselves to experience other parts of the human experience. And so you don't have to be just a worker. One of the things I tell, I've got two young kids, and I say, people say, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was like, "Don't ask them what they want to be. I want them like, who do you want to be?" Like, they may not have to work. Like, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, like, they may not have to do any of these things. They can just create, they can exist, they can be, they can have joy. And so ultimately, when I talk about what we're doing at Infinite, my company, I want to encourage people to build stronger relationships. I say that the strongest bridges exist between people, right? There are people that you've opened doors for and have helped people. And so when I talk about knowledge, and we'll get into more of this weekend, is that I ultimately want people to think through how do I connect with a person and give to them first. Everyone loves the, oh, I'm going to meet Dr. Boyce, and if I could talk to him, then he can help me. And oh, I'm going to get connected with Amanda, and then Amanda can help me. And Micah, it's like, well, how can I help Amanda? How can I help Micah? How can I help people? And I think that that is where we can get back to the value of the true human connection. And I think AI will help us save some time, be more efficient, and be able to pour into each other more.
Yes, relationships. James Lawrence got it right. Relationships matter. Type the word relationships in the chat, just as a thank you for that great comment. I mean, I would say you can't have a relationship with a robot, but the data is conflicted on that. Right? Like there are people that I think in fact I don't know if you saw this, Amanda, but it seemed like I think I saw where Sam Altman announced that if you are over 18 and you're age verified, they will open the door for ChatGPT to be your freaky little side piece if that's what you want in life, which just
That's what you're into.
wait, say it
But
again.
But if that's what you're into.
if you can see
Right.
her is a phenomenal movie. That movie was crazy.
It was
And
so good. Joaquin Phoenix 10
Joaquin
years
Phoenix
ago.
crushed
Oh,
it.
such a good movie. Have y'all seen her?
Such a good movie.
Did y'all,
I,
Amanda,
I,
Mike, did y'all see her?
I
mm-mm.
heard of I heard of the whole thing, so I
Yeah,
understand what it's about.
you got to watch the movie Her, and there's another one. I think it's called like Mom, about a baby that was there after all of humanity had been exterminated by the AI, and she was raised by an AI robot, and the robot was her mom. She didn't know anything other than having a robotic mom, and then she discovers what it means to be human, and then she finds out that basically in all of the optimal efficiency of AI, that mom had decided that she was special, because mom had literally done something where they had like all these fetuses, thousands of them, and mom was like, let's just burn them all and just make sure we only keep this one. So this little girl's dealing with the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to give the movie away, but there was a part where she realizes she was literally one in like 100,000 because mom was like, I wanted genetic efficiency, so you were the only one that I decided to let live. The rest of them, I just put them in the incinerator, right? So it's a wild movie. It's crazy. Yeah, it's very real dystopian. It might scare you a little bit, but really, So Amanda, we can do parting thoughts. I know all of you are busy professionals, and I want to say thank you again for hanging out with us today. It's an honor to have every one of you. Can you maybe give us a parting thought, maybe a couple minutes, and let us know where we can find you as well, and anything you want to share, please.
For sure. Okay, so I want to give you guys homework to go. So we've talked a lot, and I think I want us to be mindful about this in the Black community because I think a lot of times we have these sessions, we have these panels, we have these convenings where we talk about the importance of AI, but we don't actually take the next leap to get involved and get our hands dirty, right? And so a little homework I want you guys to practice on and making this a part of our routine. I know a lot of you are already using ChatGPT, but I think we need to start thinking strategically about like prompt engineering and how we can optimize those prompts to get the results that we ultimately want. So for those of you, I saw there was a kind of discourse back and forth, like, oh, I can do the free version, there's the paid version and things like that, right? Whether you're using the free version, you're using the paid version, let's practice on getting the best outputs possible. And so I think a simple activity that everyone can do, especially if you aren't using, chat on a regular basis, is just ask the chat, like, tell the chat what you want to happen, right? And then ask the chat for the best prompt structure to get the best results or the most optimal results. And when I teach my students how to think about their prompts when we are using AI to build apps, we kind of take a 4-step framework. We think about the ideation, like how do we make money with this business idea and that structure and incorporating that into the prompt. We think about the features and functionality that we want in our software. We think how we want to develop it and what are the best methods and tactics for that. And then we think about deployment, like where do we want this to live and how do we want to market and manage it moving forward. And so thinking about your prompts and as a form of engineering and structuring things in a way that you can get those best results and then you can get a little closer to scaling those businesses, to getting the outputs and to having the help and the support that you need. If you guys want to find me, I'm on Instagram at the Amanda Span. You can also find me on School, the App Accelerator, and applications are open for our HBCU programs if you are affiliated with a school in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, or the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda Span. And by the way, I'm copying and pasting the link to join this weekend at the conference. And so there'll be lots of networking and you'll get a chance to interact. And it's just a weekend long Black AI party, like just a Black ass AI party. That's what it is. And you guys know we have fun. We meet every day. I think I mentioned to you all, we literally do this every morning, 7 days a week. We're complete Black wealth fanatics. And I think that that's what's required. I think that extreme is critical because if you want to be great at anything, you have to be in it with both feet. And the extreme behavior is what led to us being pushed into the challenges that we have now, right? Like we had to deal with people really working hard to systematically deny us opportunities, to block us, keep us ignorant, and everything else. So I believe we have to be strategically committed to fixing it. We have to be as devoted to freedom as people were devoted to oppressing us. So if you agree, put a yes in the chat. That's what we're all about. That's what we do. So Micah, your parting thoughts, ma'am.
First parting thought is make sure that you're at this Black AI conference. You absolutely do not want to miss it, right? I'll be doing a breakout there on digital monetization and helping some of you walk through the creation of your first song. Right. And my second and last parting thought is make sure that you were inside of the AI Empire Society. Okay, it's really exciting. We are in the very beginning stages of our launch right now. I have a ton of amazing things coming out for you guys. And the thing is that something new is popping up with AI all the time. My job is to make sure that what you learn with AI, you're cutting through the fluff and you're only learning what helps you generate revenue. That's it. Expansion. That's the whole idea behind it. And so, for you guys to get into that, all you have to do is go to AIEmpireSociety.com. And me and Dr. Boyce can't wait to work with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Micah. Yeah, AIEmpireSociety.com. The link's in the chat. And so now, Mr. Hughes, you can close us out, brother. Any
Yeah.
parting thoughts?
Ultimately, y'all, I mean, knowledge is so important to me. I talk about the importance of education. That's one thing. We've seen it, education from an institutional level. But what we're experiencing here, conversations with other humans and the research we can do on our own is knowledge. And so the big parting shot I like to encourage folks to remember is that we need to treat knowledge more like a library and less like a vault. So we live in this era of information, right? We live in this information age. But because of that, we're plagued with misinformation, disinformation, and gatekeeping. And so,
Mm.
by the systems that we operate and have to exist in, we are literally feeling like this competitive pressure when in actuality, our community is best when our neighbor knows a little more than we know. And the other neighbor knows a little more than we know, right? And so it's the same thing you talk about. It's like, do you want to be the smartest person in one room? No, you don't want to. So continue to share, continue to learn, and continue to seek out that information. You can follow me and get connected. I'm on Instagram too, so I'll drop this here. But also, if there's LinkedIn, I do all the more businessy stuff on LinkedIn. On Instagram, you see more of a round character where it's me being a dad, me doing entrepreneurship, and me just trying to, put one foot in front of the other as a black man in society. So excited to be here. Looking forward to seeing you all this weekend. And if you want to learn more about how we can talk one-on-one about your business, I do that stuff as well too.
Right, all right. Yeah, my Michael made a comment that made me laugh, but I should say it out loud because we gotta give a shout out. He says, Boyce knows a lot of pretty women. I need to hang out with him. So shout out to the beautiful black women. And they're not this ain't just beauty, this is brains, y'all. So everybody who just thinks black women are awesome in every way, like say something in the chat, like give them a shout out because I think the age of AI mixed with with the volatility of what we've seen politically in terms of black women sort of having what went on with the unemployment issue and all that. I think that's unleashing a lot of real power. I really think that we have. I mean, don't get me wrong, the brothers we're doing our thing in our way, but I think that when you're talking about just this avalanche of black women that are truly committed to ownership, wealth building, entrepreneurship and then technology on top of that, we're going to take the lead in this thing. Like we're going to have our own little superpower. We are going to manufacture trillions of dollars worth of black privilege in this generation and the next. And it's because of amazing women like Amanda Spann and Micah Smith. So give them a shout out, give them a digital thank you, give the whole panel. And also, I don't want to leave my brother Harold out. Harold is a great guy. I like what Harold says about relationships. Like he's throwing up the heart, right? We gotta love, right? Love is love, and I love the fact that you did that, Harold, because I can say I think everything starts with love, right? You start with love, you can build everything on top of that because love's the most powerful force in the universe, and it can lift an empire, it can lift a community. So let's start the day with love. There we go. That's our word for today. Put the word love in the chat if you align with any of this. And let the panelists know how much you love them and appreciate them. And I know I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for joining us, every one of you. Amanda Spann, Micah Smith, Harold on IG. I don't have your what's your last name, Harold, brother? I'm sorry. Harold Hughes. There we go. Harold
Hughes like
Hughes.
Langston.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna forget that. Langston Hughes, aka Harold Hughes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys very much. And I'll put the link one more time if you want to join the conference. And actually that's the link for the AI Empire Society, but the conference is it's blackaiconference.com, but I'll put the direct link in here so that you can go directly to the site. And the code you can use, if you want to use this code to get a discount, you can use the code 30 off, all one word, 30 off. It'll take 30% off. And so I'll see you guys tomorrow, I guess, and also this weekend. And thank you guys. Thank you everyone for a wonderful conversation. All right, God bless you. Have a good day, everybody. And also, I'll follow up with you all today about the stock market. There's some crazy stuff happening over there too. So it's an all day thing. Take care, everybody.